Good evening. Welcome to Wednesday night story time with JAnice. Welcome. And tonight's story is one of my favorites, Wombat Stew. It's the best book. It's so much fun to make a play with, Wombat Stew. And it's written by Marcia, Vaughan and Pamela Lofts. It's an all-time classic of Australia with all our lovely Australian animals inside. The illustrations are fabulous. And you'll see as the story goes how the great team spirit of our Australian bush characters comes through in these characters. And they pull together and they rescue the wombat. It's a fabulous story. I'm really looking forward to reading it with you tonight. And I can see some friends have joined already. Hi Miria and Neva. Hi darlings. I hope you're feeling really good. Who else have we got? Hey Jasmine, how you going? Hi Riley, hi buddy. Bella and Shasha. Who else have I got here? Hi Heidi, hello. Helena, Luca and Nikki, hi guys from Sydney. And who have I got? Freba, hi. And Freddie and Ezra. Oh my goodness, everybody's pouring in tonight. Elliot, hi Elliot. Clara, hi Clara. Who else can I say? Indian Zoe. Hi, Indian Zoe. I'm just climbing through all of these people. Who is... Hi! Hi, Auntie Rosalie and Jack. Ryan's here tonight, and so is Nate and Lucy. Lucy. Reese is here. Kimberly, Braxton, Caitlin, Alfie, me oh my. How you been? Have you had a really good day? I hope you've had a good day. And what are you doing now? You in your pajamas? Having some dinner maybe? I'm sorry I can't see you guys, but I'm really glad that you're here with me today. Huber Army from Sydney? Me oh my, words getting out. So everyone knows I've posted last week's video up on YouTube. So hi PJ, Noah and Jake. Hi, and Breen's here. And Victor Warren. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at pronunciation. Dusty. Hi Dusty and Parker. And PJ's from Melbourne. Me oh my. Wow guys. So it's pretty exciting tonight. But anyway, I'm going to start loading the videos. The story time's up on YouTube. So you'll be able to click on there anytime and watch any of the stories that you like and get any of the tips and tricks that I might happen to help you with, either with literacy and learning or art and drawing. Oh, Grafton. Hi, Missy and Kobe. Gee whiz, we're spreading far and wide now. Vithish. Wow, me oh my. Well, it is 6:04 and I'm going to start the story. So thank you so much for being on, and thanks so much for saying hi. It's exciting for me. I hope it's exciting for you too. What's on the wall behind us we'll get to later. So, gooey, brewy, yummy, chewy wombat stew. While I'm reading it, you watch how the team gets together. It's really cool. So here we go. Wombat stew. Wombat stew. 2 words. See? What starts for the first one. What? Wombat. S for stew. This is how we go into the book by Marcia, Vaughan and Pamela Lofts. Here we go, guys. Are you ready? Whoa! One day on the banks of a billabong, a very clever dingo caught a wombat. He's going, you beauty, I got my wombat. Woohoo! And decided to make wombat stew. And as he danced and the kookaburras watching, he's singing away, Wombat stew, wombat stew, gooey, brewy, yummy, chewy, wombat stew, wombat stew. Oh, he's so happy. He puts in his water into his billy. And the wombat, ooh, how does a wombat feel? I think he's a little bit worried. Platypus came ambling up the bank with his big hat on and goes, G'day, Dingo. Snapping his bill. What's all this water for? Oh, I'm brewing up a gooey, chewy stew for that fat wombat, replied Dingo with a big, toothy grin. Oh, if you ask me, says Platypus, the best thing for gooey stew is some mud. Some big blobs of billabong mud. Billabong mud? Yes, good idea, Dingo. Righto, in they go. So Platypus scoops up big blots of mud with his tail and plop, plop, in they go. And tip them right into the billy can. Plop, plop. Around the bubbling billy, the Dingo he danced and sang. Wombat stew, wombat stew, gooey, brewy, yummy, chewy, wombat stew, wombat stew. But can you see the kookaburra? Oh me, oh my. He's like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to my friend? What can I do? Waltzing out from the shade of the ironbark trees comes the emu. She arched her long, graceful neck over the brew. Oh no, Dingo, she flutters. What have we here? Gooey, chewy wombat stew, boasts Dingo. Oh, if only it were a bit more chewy. Oh, but don't worry, a few feathers will set it right. Feathers? Dingo smiled. What a chewy! That would be chewy, righto. In they go. So into the gooey stew, the emu dropped in a few of her finest feathers. And around the bubbling billy, the Dingo danced and sang. Wombat stew, crunchy munchy for my lunchy. Wombat stew. How do you think his stew's beginning to taste? Would you eat it? Your dinner might be nicer. Old Blue Tongue the lizard came sliding off his sun-soaked stone. Silly Dingo, he hissed. There's no flies in this stew. Can't be wombat stew without crunchy flies in it. And he stuck out his bright blue tongue. There's a lot to be said for flies, agreed the Dingo, rubbing his paws together. Righto, in they go, says Dingo. So the lizard slapped up hundreds of flies from the air and with his long blue tongue and flipped them into the gooey stew. Lots of flies, so many flies. And around the bubbling billy, the Dingo he danced and sang. Woohoo! My stew's cooking! Wombat stew, crunchy munchy for my lunchy. Wombat stew. Oh, see, look at the lizard. What does he think it's going to taste like? And the emu. Ooh, no, not for me. Up through the red dust pops the kidna. Wait a bit, not so fast, he bristled, shaking off the red dust from his quills. Now I've been listening to all this advice, and take it from me. For a munchy stew, you need slugs, bugs, and creepy crawlies. Ooh, thought the Dingo. Dingo wagged his tail. Why, I should have thought of that. Righto, in they go. So Echidna, he got all sorts of creepy crawlies and he popped them into the stew. And there they go. Ah! I think they look scared too, just like the wombat. Oh, yum. And the very clever Dingo stirred and stirred. Here it is. Stir and stir. And all the while he was singing, Wombat stew, hot and spicy, oh so nicey, wombat stew, wombat stew. The friends, they're all getting together. Oh no, Wombat's getting scared, it's getting close. Just then, the sleepy-eyed koala climbed down the scribbly gum tree. Oh, who's this? Oh, look here, he yawned. Any bush cook knows you can't make spicy stew without gum nuts. Oh, leave it to koala to think of gum nuts, Dingo laughed and licked his whiskers. Righto, he says, and in they go. Out comes his gum nuts and plop, in they go. And into the gooey, chewy, crunchy, munchy stew, koala shook lots and lots of gum nuts. Ah, cries Dingo. Now my stew is missing just one thing. What is that? Asked the animal friends. That fat wombat. Wait, stop. Hang on, Dingo, says the friends. You can't put the wombat into the stew yet. Why not? He says. You haven't tasted it yet. Righto, I'll taste it. And he puts his paw in and he has a bit of a slurp. And he took a big slurp of stew and he said this big word, ah! I'm poisoned, he howled. You've all tricked me. And he dashed away deep into the bush, never, never to sing. Wombat stew, gooey, brewy, yummy, chewy, wombat stew, wombat stew. And that's the end of this great story. Did you see? What do you think of the Dingo? Do you think he was actually pretty clever? Maybe not. He let all the other friends put all those creepy crawlies and mud and feathers. Who eats feathers? So he put them into the stew and he let them all do it. A bit crazy. But the friends knew that if they were to say, hey Wombat and hey Dingo, I'll come and rescue you, the Dingo, he would have eaten the big emu, and she was wondering, my goodness, how am I going to get my feet in that pot? Woo-hoo. And same with the lizard. The lizard would have made a lovely meal for the Dingo. So one of them could not go against the Dingo, but all of them together as a team, they were smart enough, they thought together as a team, and they saved the wombat from the Dingo being made into stew. So that's wombat stew, and it's great. And you can make a play with it, like we did for graduation in 2019 at Kindy. We did a graduation concert and show with Wombat Stew, and it was fabulous. I must say it was one of the best things I have ever done. And so what we did, I'll just straighten my camera up for you. So put photocopy the book, and we laid it out linear across the room, and so the kids could see everything. And then we made cards, and I'll go into that later, but it actually put order in for the kids, and that was fabulous. So guys, would you like to make some costumes so you could be some of the characters in Wombat Stew? You would? Well, I made these little ears. These are little koala ears. And I didn't have any cotton wool in the shop. I can't get to the shops all the time, so I just used some white paper and some black paper, and I cut out this shape. So it's just like, what do you think that shape is? It's kind of like a circle with an end on it. It looks a bit like a light globe, maybe it looks like a bit like a light globe. Let's cut that shape out. And then if you can see, I put this tiny little hole in it. Okay? I just put this little hole in it. And then I cut out the same shape in the white paper, but just a little bit smaller. And then I cut it and I fringed it. So I cut little slits into it so that it might look a little bit fluffy. And I cut the tab off it and I glued it on top. That makes an ear. So it doesn't matter what kind of animal you might be wanting to be, because you can do this for yourself and you can make some ears. So if you have a headband, it's pretty cool just to pop them on the headband. Whoop, twist that round. And because I've got that tab, you see, that's where it sits. And then when I pop them on my head, it'll keep them sitting flat. Like that. Boom, boom. And there's my ears. I might look like Mickey Mouse or lots of other kind of characters, but that's okay. That's okay. So you can make some ears. And then I thought, okay, so this week was book week, and I made a spider out of a mask. So you know these masks, I just shortened the tab and tied it in a knot, got a black texture, coloured it in black, gave him a face, hello, and then when I put the legs on, I just used a stapler and I held the legs up tall, so when they flop forward, they go floppy, they arch down. And to make them arch, paper will stretch, so you just give it a little roll around your finger and stretch it out so that they look a bit kind of curly. And that's how you can make another kind of critter. What else have I got here? Pipe cleaners are amazing. Twist them up and all the rest of it. To make the blobs of mud, I just got some fabric and I tied some string around it, and that just looked like a big blob of mud. Plop, in it goes. And what else did I do? To make a tail. Oh, you need to make a tail. So, make a tail for the wombat. I got an old pillow slip. So don't get one without asking Mum, because it has to be an old one. And then I rolled up a hand towel. So first of all, I cut out a shape, like a big, long triangle. I'll step back. A big, long triangle shape, not this part. That's the part that came off it. So it's a big, long triangle type of shape. And then I rolled up a towel, a hand towel, and I just popped it inside so it's nice and soft. And then by chopping these lengths off, I can tie them together so it's no sew. You just don't sew it. You just tie the ends together, and then it looks like he's got, you know, a bit of fluff. You might have a different colour, and then pillow slip, but that's just fine. And you can always paint them, you know, have a bit of fun painting them. Put a little slip in the top, and then the leftovers that was cut off, you can use that to thread through, and then you can tie them on around your body, which I can't really do right now to show you because the camera's too high, but I hope you can get the gist of it. That's a tail, and you can use this sort of thing to make a dinosaur tail, wombat tail. Oh, not wombats don't have a tail, or a dingo tail. Yeah, whatever you like, but it's no sew, which is awesome. And because of lockdown, I'm really trying hard to use things that everybody already has in the house, you know, so that you don't have to run out and you know, to the shops all the time, because we're not allowed to do that. We all have to stay safe. And I haven't got this prepared, so I'm actually going to make it really quickly. When I made the wombat at Kindy, actually there's two ways to do it, but if you I'm just cutting up some, you'll see in just one sec. Yeah, and just cut out like this, like a zigzag, or even just a fringing type thing. Now the trick is how you put it on, because if you just put the glue on the edge, and then these you can fluff up, and then if you work from, let me see. I got this. So if I worked from this side and I went one, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one, then as they layer, they actually can then stick up and your animal can look a little bit, you know, like furry and fluffy. You can do that. So that's another way to make a wombat. And because I've got some friends on here that are a little bit older and like to paint and draw, I have got some things. So I thought we might do a little bit of painting. And I've got a few colours on my tray, and we have two kinds of brushes. Can you see them? So this brush is called a flat brush. Can you see that? Because it's flat. It's straight, like a little box. It's flat. So that's a flat brush. This brush is called a round brush because it's kind of round on top. Does that make sense? Pretty simple, isn't it? So there's flat brush and a round brush. So depending on what it is you're painting, you can choose which brush is best for you. So when mums and dads, I haven't practiced and I haven't painted for a long time, but we're just going to have a go at maybe, I'm going to teach you, show you how to do some strokes. Now, paint, by the way, paint is not ice cream. We do not pick it up like this, okay? No. When you want to make a nice stroke, you can roll your brush round and round into the paint, so you only get what you need. And then a little trick is if you take just one edge and put it on the side, so now my brush has two colours on it. So when, can you see my paper? So if I'm going to paint some gum leaves, both colours will come out. Oh, sorry. And there's a trick to, maybe you can replay this, because when you apply the paint with the brush, because the brush is skinny, but when I squash it, and you see it on the paper, I start skinny and then I squash it. Oh, I'm not doing so well. And I squash it and it gets broader. So when I want to, so as I'm painting, I can make it skinny and I can make it fat. And then when I put the colour on one side, I can have a little line. That's pretty cool. And I can roll my brush and twist my brush, and before you know it, I can have a set of gum leaves. Now remember, I said once before that when you are actually painting and you're making a lovely picture, a good artist knows when to stop. Okay? So when you get so far and it's looking pretty good, remember just to stop, and that will be the best thing for your picture. And then when I want to put on some bark or the gum nuts, so I want to put some gum nuts on, which is just like a round circle type shape. And whoops, might link them back to my gum nuts, my leaves. I used to do this type of painting a lot, so lots of practice, and next thing you know, you'll be good at it too. And I'll show you something in a minute that I painted a long time ago. I'll do different kind of paintings now, but that's what happens when you just keep practicing. You make all sorts of things. So gum trees have beautiful blossoms. They call them blossoms, and so to make a blossom, I'm going to use a smaller brush, my smaller round brush, and I'm just going to feather out and watch my little finger. My little finger goes on the paper, so my hand is steady, and I just flick out the paint, and I just do this a few times, And the next thing you know, I have a beautiful big gum blossom. So, and I'm only just feather touching, like tiny, tiny, just touching the paper. And remember, paint is not ice cream, so don't scoop it right up. I only just need a little bit, just little bits on the end. And then you can have, I need more water. And the other thing about your water, your cup of water, can you make, you know, like things need to be, if you want white, then the water needs to be clean. Yes? So when the water gets dirty, you need to go and change it. Okay? So that's, whoops, I'm taking too long. But anyway, I think you get the gist. So with your paintbrush, what I'm just trying to show you quite simply is, if you start fine, just tickle the paper, just touch it like a feather and then squash the brush and then come up and it will create a shape for you. And you keep doing that. And if you go use that sort of stroke, we call that a stroke, and if you keep making those strokes around a circle, you'll end up with a flower. And if you make anything like that, if you make any costumes or you do any sort of painting, you could pop it up into the chat, even though, you know, this might be finished. But that's the end of our little session tonight. And so we'll finish with singing Give Me a Home Among the Gum Tree. And if there's any educators on the show, I'm going to turn this one off and then hop back on again and actually talk about how you would actually make a whole concert production and props and things like that to help you along the way. So, Home Amongst the Gum Trees. Are you ready? Whoa. Go make a house. Got to do some actions. Here we go. Okay. Give me a home among the gum trees with lots of plum trees. A sheep or two, a sheep or two and a kangaroo, a clothesline out the back, veranda out the front, and an old rocking chair. I've been around the world a couple of times and maybe more. I've seen some sights and had delights of every foreign shore. And one thing I'll give you, and that's for sure. I tell them right away, give me a home among the gum trees with lots of plum trees. A sheep or two and a kangaroo, a clothesline out the back, veranda out the front, and an old rocking chair. And an old rocking chair. So that's it for tonight. I really hope you got something out of it and you had a really good time. And pop in this chat if you would like to see. Sorry, love your singing. Should have had a drink first. But if you would like pop in the chat any pictures or anything like that. It's been a lot of fun. And thank you so much to everybody jumping on the call. And for those who like to make shows, hop back on in a couple of minutes and I'll show you what I used to make an actual show. But everybody stay safe, stay well, look after each other. Bye-bye.